Today I'm here at Taylor Road Primary School in Leicester, where the children behind me are clearly enjoying their playtime with their friends. And this is really good news for many parents and young people. And as from Monday, primary school children can go back to their classroom and reconnect with their friends and with their teachers. Secondary school students will also be able to return, and they will be back full time by March the 15th. I know our schools have worked really hard to make sure that they can provide a COVID secure environment for our children. Teachers are taking COVID tests twice a week, while secondary school students and their families will be provided with free testing kits so they can check they're not at risk of bringing the virus into the schools. Other than your home, we're trying to make sure that schools are the safest place in the city for your child. And that's really important because we want to ensure that our schools can stay open. So many of our children have suffered over this period of time and they need to be at school. So we want to keep that infection rate down and make sure there is no need for any further restrictions or lockdowns in Leicester. And this is where you can help. We know that children quite rarely pass the virus on to each other, but transmission can happen easily with parents socialising at the school gates or failing to socially distance on the school run. Now, I know everybody's exhausted from lockdowns and the restrictions that we face, and we're desperate to get back to some kind of normality. But please remember that the current restrictions state that we still must stay at home as much as we possibly can. From March the 8th, you can meet up with one person from another household for a socially distanced coffee outdoors. But for right now, no further socialising is permitted. So please, don't put our school recovery at risk by gathering at the school gates for a chat with friends or people you've not seen for a while. Let's do all we can to make sure we're keeping our schools open. It's really important that we continue to follow the rules because Leicester remains at a difficult position. You see, although our numbers are still coming down, which is good, infection rates for coronavirus in Leicester are still much higher than the national average and higher than the levels that we saw in June when our city was first placed into a local lockdown. You can help to continue to bring our infection rates down by staying at home, wearing a face covering whenever is required, washing your hands regularly throughout the day, and keeping 2 meters apart from anyone that you don't live with. I know that we've said these messages before, but they are still important. It's also a good idea to check that you're not carrying the virus by popping into one of our 6 rapid testing sites. You don't need an appointment and you can call in for a free test twice a week. With 1 in 3 people with coronavirus not having any symptoms at all, you could be passing on the virus without knowing it, so it's always good to check. And if you do have a positive test or you have symptoms of coronavirus, remember that you and anyone who lives with you must stay at home for 10 days. You can also help us beat this pandemic in Leicester by having your COVID vaccination as soon as it's offered to you. Having the vaccine will significantly reduce your risk of serious illness. And the good news is we're already starting to see reductions in the number of hospital admissions as the most vulnerable members of our society are vaccinated. But the thing is, now's not the time to relax. We've got to continue to follow the rules and just resist that temptation to start mixing with family and friends. And let's do all we can to keep ourselves and our families safe and keep our schools open. And as always, let's do that now and let's do it together.